Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping in today. Going over this video from a great channel that I love to follow, so shout out to the Wealth Historian. This guy makes bangers every single time, and I love this kind of content. Some of my channels kind of, a little bit mirrored after this about, just finance, technology, what we're all kind of going through. This isn't fear mongering. This is just facts based off of data. And you can look it up. You can Google it. This isn't political. I keep the politics out of here. If I wanted to, believe me, you can go check out my other videos. It's not about politics. It's about ones and zeros. And furthermore, it's not Trump. It's not Biden. It's Congress. It's Senate who has allowed this to happen for the last 50, 60 years, running up the debt. So with that being said, let's get it going.
Donald Trump just promised to fix the economy. And I actually believe he wants to.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a problem. The crash coming in 2026 is bigger than any president. It's mathematical, it's unstoppable. And I need to show you why.
The debt is way too much. I think last time I checked, we're at like 37, 36 trillion dollars, and that's not even the crazy part. The crazy part is just the interest payments on it alone. We're like that dumb teenager who got a credit card when they were 18 and then thought this is free money and just went and bought, clothes and pizza, and then when the bill came, we're like, what is this? Huh? What's this bill? What's this? I don't get it.
Look, this isn't a political video. I don't care if you love Trump or hate him. That's irrelevant to what I'm about to show you. Because what's coming transcends politics.
Mm-hmm.
It transcends
This
parties.
is bigger. This is
It
bigger
transcends
than
any
that. And
individual.
and by the way, they keep us unaware of this stuff that we're about to watch by keeping each other at each other's throats because it's all about perception. So if I can keep me angry at you, then you don't see that these people over here and these people over here are robbing you blind. And it just keeps on going on and on. And whenever someone wants to look into the details, it just turns into another tribal culture war. So just keep that in mind, guys. Okay, it's not political. This involves all of us. This involves our kids, our grandkids, and who knows where this is going to end.
No matter how powerful or well intentioned they might be. The economic crash that's building right now, the one that's going to hit in 2026, it was set in motion decades ago, long before Trump, long before Biden.
Are we going to talk about Bretton Woods? Are we talking to talk about going off the gold standard? Are we going to talk about that the dollar is based on trusting the United States? I ask you this: how many treaties has the United States walked away from or opted out of? I don't care about Biden. I don't care about Trump. I'm talking about First Nation, talking about industrialized, the turn of the century. I'm talking about it all. Okay.
Long before any of the current players were even in the game. This is the result of 50 years of bad decisions, compounding errors, and mathematical inevitabilities that no president can reverse.
Mm-hmm.
Let me start by being clear about something. Trump isn't stupid. He's not ignorant about economics.
Nope.
Say what you want about his policies or his
You don't
personality.
get to be that
He
rich.
understands business. He
Okay.
understands debt. He understands leverage. He knows how money
Exactly.
works. And I genuinely believe that he wants to fix the economy.
And let me tell you something here, okay? People are gonna say, "Well, you just hate Trump. You're just a you got TDS or whatever you guys want to say." I would totally do what Trump did if I was in his position. I would absolutely take advantage of all of the loopholes that have been created for the top 1%, and so would you. So let's get off this, moral high ground that, oh well, I wouldn't do, if the Nazis were at my door. Bullshit.
I think he looks at the problems we're facing and honestly believes he can solve them. He's a builder. He's a deal maker. He's someone who's spent his entire life fixing problems and making things work. But here's the brutal truth. Some problems are too big to fix. Some
The
situations
debt.
are too far gone. Some mathematical
We are
realities
so
don't
far
care about
gone.
willpower or deal-making skills or presidential authority.
All our
The
wars.
economic crisis we're facing is one.
And hey, I guys don't know if you know this, but we turned the money printer back on. So quantitative easing, look that up. That's basically what we went through in the financial crisis. They just basically put a bunch of money into the economy, but then of course, the more money you add to the economy, the less the dollar is worth, and that's how inflation works. Just look back at the charts in my other videos. I might even put up a chart in this video.
Is one of those situations. Let me break down exactly why Trump, or any president, cannot stop what's coming. Reason number one, the debt is too large. The United States has $36 trillion in national debt right now. Let that number sink in. 36 trillion. That's more than our entire GDP. We owe more than we produce in a year. It's growing
Just an
by
interest.
$2 trillion every year. Every single year, we add another $2 trillion to the pile. Under Trump's first term, the debt grew by $8 trillion. Under Biden, it grew by another $7 trillion. It doesn't matter who's in.
So no one is innocent here, okay? It's all a fugazi, right? It's the music has to continue to play until until the music stops.
office. The debt keeps growing. Now, Trump could theoretically try to cut spending. He could slash government programs. He could fire federal workers. He could try to balance the budget.
We all know how that
The
goes.
math doesn't work anymore.
Doesn't
Interest on the debt is now over $1 trillion.
all the interest is
Just the
worse than
interest
all of our
we're
programs,
paying
so it
to
doesn't even matter what you
just the
cut anymore.
cost of servicing the debt we already have.
Mm-hmm.
That's more than we spend on defense, more than we spend on most government programs. Social Security costs about $1.4 trillion per year. Medicare costs about $1 trillion. Defense
And the fact that the inflation has gotten so bad, it's just incredibly high cost of living is incentivizing people, not incentivizing people, people just can't afford to have a kid and raise a kid in this climate. And because of that, basically the next round of people who are going to pay into Social Security are not going to be there, or they're not going to be at the numbers that they need to be at for, my generation to get Social Security, or at least a full payment of Social Security. It's like, I'll get Social Security, but I'll get 1/3 or 2/3 of a full payment is the way it's going to break down.
defense spending is about $850 billion. These three items alone are over $3 trillion. Add in the $1 trillion of interest, and you're at $4 trillion in spending. That is essentially untouchable. Our total federal revenue is about $4.5 trillion per year. You see the problem? Almost all of our revenue goes to just four things: interest, Social Security, Medicare, and defense. There's barely anything left for everything else. Roads, education.
This is what they don't want us to realize.
The government does. So if Trump wants to actually reduce the deficit, he would need to cut Social Security, Medicare, or defense. But he can't.
To the bone.
Politically, it's impossible. Cut Social Security, and you anger 70 million retirees who vote.
The main voters.
Medicare, and you lose senior citizens. Cut defense, and you're accused of weakening America. So the debt keeps growing. And as it grows, the interest payments grow. And as interest payments grow, they consume more of the budget. It's a death spiral. And no president can stop it without making cuts that would be political suicide and social catastrophe.
Facts.
Reason number two:
Nobody wants to go first.
doesn't control the Fed. The Fed is technically independent, but even if he did control it, it wouldn't matter, because the Fed is in an impossible situation. If the Fed raises interest rates to fight inflation, they crash the economy. Higher rates mean higher mortgage payments. Businesses can't afford them.
Also, even when Scott Bessent or whoever becomes the Fed chairman, it's like, yeah, that's great. Bring the rates down to zero. It's still going to be a $700,000 house in California. It's still going to be a $400,000 house anywhere across the nation, and that is simply not even close to being obtainable for the average person, let alone a two-income household.
Board loans, the stock market tanks, real estate collapses, unemployment spikes. We go into a severe recession or depression. But if the Fed keeps rates low to support the economy, inflation continues. The dollar loses value. Prices keep rising. People can't afford basic necessities. And eventually, inflation gets so bad that it forces a crisis anyway. The Fed is stuck between two terrible options: crash now with high rates, or crash later with inflation.
Short-term thinking. This is what happens when everybody's just trying to keep it for till the next quarter, or we're trying to chase corporate profits and we're cutting everything to the bone just to, make investors look happy.
Either way, we crash. Trump can't change this. No president can. The Fed painted itself into a corner over the past 15 years of money printing and zero interest rates. And now there's no way out. Reason number three: the demographics are fixed. This is the big one that nobody talks about. Baby boomers are retiring. 10,000 people turn 65 every single day.
Shit, I'm taking care of a 76-year-old woman in my house, and it's not easy. So yeah, I can only imagine what is going to happen this year and next year. Everybody wants to retire, but there's not enough tradespeople. There's not enough people to take on the work. Electricians, plumbers, even for the military, they don't even have enough, avionics, mechanics, and things of that nature. And Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting time to say the least.
That's 3.6 million new retirees every year. And they're all expecting Social Security. They're
A
all going to
full
need work.
payment.
They all need support. But
Yep.
the generation behind them is smaller. We're not producing enough workers to support the retirees.
What did I just
In
say?
1950, there were 16 workers for every retiree. Today, it's 2.8 workers per retiree. By 2030, it'll be barely 2 workers per retiree. This is a mathematical problem. You can't change demographics with policy.
I mean, that's kind of where there's that where you hear Social Security is a Ponzi scheme, right? Because in order for me to get paid, the kids of today, have to pay out for me to have tomorrow get paid, right? So, yeah, it's shaky ground.
You can't create workers out of thin air. The
Hmm.
birth rate has been declining for decades. The population pyramid is inverted.
And then also, if everyone uses AI robots and you don't pay them, who else is going to support Social Security tax? Better
And there's
question.
nothing Trump or any president can do about it. Even if Trump wanted to increase immigration to bring in more workers, that's politically toxic. His base would revolt. And even if he did it, it would take decades for those immigrants to fully integrate into the workforce and start paying significant taxes. The demographic crisis is locked in. It's happening. And it's going to bankrupt Social Security and Medicare, regardless of who's in the White House. Reason number 4, the global de-dollarization is already in motion. The
Hmm.
dollar's status as the world's reserve
It's shite.
currency is what allows us to print money and run massive deficits.
Thank you, Saudi Arabia, for allowing the petrodollar to exist because that's what causes all of this to continue. And of course, every time the petrodollar is challenged, uh, conflict breaks out. Not always, but it's an accelerant to conflict breaking out in weaker nations. Look at Saddam Hussein in the early 90s. He wanted to sell his oil into euros. No, it was in the 2000s. He wanted to sell in euros, and then in the 2000s we invaded. You look at Gaddafi in Libya. He wanted to sell the oil with the African Gold Kruger, and then it collapsed. See, the same thing is with other nations like Iran and Russia, that regime change might not happen right away, but it definitely weakens the country.
Without immediate consequences. Other countries need dollars, so they buy our debt and accept our currency. But that's ending. China, Russia, and the BRICS nations
BRICS.
are
Yep.
building an alternative system. They're trading
And that's what a lot of people won't acknowledge. I personally think that that was a bigger hand in Venezuela that was part of it. That Venezuela was supplying the BRICS nations with the oil, and they weren't using the dollar. So hey, call me. But I mean, this is just my thought, me reacting. I love economics, I love history and stuff like that. So let's get back at it.
trading in their own currencies. They're accumulating gold. They're creating payment systems that bypass the dollar entirely. Saudi Arabia
China.
is accepting yuan for oil. That's huge. The
What?
petrodollar system was the foundation of dollar
Yep.
dominance. When the Saudis accept other currencies, the whole system starts to crack.
Mm-hmm.
Trump can't stop this. He can't force China to use dollars. He can't make Saudi Arabia only accept dollars. He can't prevent other countries from building alternative systems. This
And that's what's funny. We told Saudi Arabia that we'll protect you with military presence, but you have to only accept the dollar. So it's yeah, interesting times.
is a global movement driven by countries that are tired of dollar hegemony and American financial weaponization. The process is already too far along. Even if Trump wanted to reverse it, even if he offered concessions and made deals, the momentum is unstoppable. Other countries have made their decision. They're moving away from the dollar, and when reserve currency status is lost, it doesn't come back. Reason number 5, the commercial real estate collapse is unstoppable.
Mm-hmm.
This is already happening right now.
It's been happening. I got a brother who's in commercial real estate, who's been in commercial real estate, and yeah, he's building's been empty for years. They want to sell it, but they can't find a buyer. They refinanced, and now that their rates have gone up, they have nowhere to go. They have no clients, and all they do is just raise the rents on anyone who's in there or who wants to come in there.
Right now. Office buildings are empty because of remote work. Retail spaces are vacant because of e commerce. Property values are cratering. And there's $1.5 trillion in commercial real estate debt coming due over the next 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
These loans were made when interest rates were near zero
Uh-huh.
and buildings were full.
What
Now
did you
rates are
say?
triple what they were, and
Yep.
occupancy is half. Property owners can't refinance. They
Nope.
can't make the payments. They're going to default. And when they default, the regional banks holding these loans are going to fail. We're talking about potentially hundreds of bank failures.
Oh, yeah.
2008 style crisis, but
Hey, does anybody remember Washington Mutual? Huh? Talk about a name from the past. I mean, you want to talk about old banks? Yeah.
concentrated in commercial real estate and regional banks. He could maybe delay it slightly with some kind of bailout or loan program, but that just kicks the can and makes the problem bigger. The fundamental issue is that the buildings aren't worth what they were. The loans can't be repaid. The losses have to be recognized. Someone has to eat the losses. And when that happens, banks fail and the financial system seizes up. Reason number 6, the money printing can't stop. This
Won't
is the
stop.
core issue. The government
This is how we pay for our bills. We pay for shit with money we don't have, so we print it. No other country can do this. But we have got around this for so long, but now the dollar is so worthless. It's just, hell, 4 years ago, $20, it's you go back 4 or 5 years to now, it's $20 is now, you need $25 to buy $20 worth of stuff, basically.
government is spending $2 trillion more than it collects every year. That gap has to be filled somehow. And the only way to fill it is for the Federal Reserve to create money and buy government debt. They call it quantitative easing or monetary accommodation or whatever technical term sounds legitimate.
What did I say? I thought I said QE.
Money,
Yep.
creating dollars out of nothing to fund government spending.
They literally have a master Excel sheet and they literally just add a bunch of zeros to that son of a gun, and then they're like, okay, we just created $5 trillion and we'll just put it out there into the system.
And this printing causes inflation. More dollars
Mhm.
chasing the same goods and services means prices go up. Your purchasing power declines. Your savings lose value. Trump knows this. He's criticized the Fed for printing money before. But here's his problem. If the
He's
Fed
got no
stops
choice.
printing, the government can't fund itself. We'd have
The
to
music
either massively
stops.
cut spending or massively raise taxes. Both options are political poison. Cut spending and millions of people lose benefits. Programs
Mhm.
get eliminated.
Yep.
Government services disappear. Raise taxes and you crush the economy, destroy growth, and lose elections. So the printing continues under Trump,
No
under
choice.
Biden, under whoever comes next.
Exactly.
Printing continues because there's no politically viable alternative.
Exactly.
As the printing continues, inflation continues, and the dollar's value continues to erode. Trump can't stop this without making choices
I love
that
that picture.
destroy his presidency and potentially cause a depression. So he won't stop it. He'll do what every president does. Keep the system going, keep printing, and hope the
And walk
crisis
away.
doesn't happen on his watch.
Exactly.
Reason number 7, the derivatives market is a
Oh,
ticking
God.
time bomb.
I did another video on derivatives, dude. Don't even get me started on derivatives, all right? Derivatives are what started the 2008 housing crisis, and now it's even worse because insider bets are allowing it to go in. Just look at the RICO case with all the FBI and the NBA, and now maybe the NFL with that latest field goal kick, where they ran the clock out. Yeah, no, it's bad. We've basically allowed everyone a seat at the table who wants to make money, and we're not calling it gambling because we've paid enough lawmakers off to basically say it's not gambling, it's bet marketing, and that's
There are over $600 trillion in derivatives in the global financial system. That's 6 times the size of the entire world economy.
think about that.
Complex financial instruments that most people don't understand.
Exactly.
But here's what matters. They're all interconnected. They're all
Mhm.
based on assumptions about interest rates, currency values, and asset prices. And when those assumptions break, the whole system can collapse. We saw this in 2008 with mortgage-backed securities. When housing prices started falling,
I feel like I'm talking to myself here.
derivatives based on mortgages started
Yep.
falling. And because everything was connected,
And here's what's so nasty about the derivatives. Here's what they don't tell you about derivatives. All right. Here, I'll give you the perfect example of how the derivatives market work. I am Wells Fargo in this example, and I'm going to give you your mortgage to get a house, okay, get a place, right? But Wells Fargo behind the scenes says, hey, you know what? I'm not sure about this guy. So you know what? I'm going to write a derivative contract in the back office that says, you, buddy, I don't think you're going to make it, okay? I don't think you're going to be able to make this payment for more than 3, 4, 5 years, whatever the case is, okay? So when you stop paying your bill and then everyone's like, oh no, Wells Fargo, lost all this money on bad loans. No, Wells Fargo cleaned house and raked it all in because they bet against you at the same time that they funded you to go get a mortgage. That is what a lot of companies and people don't realize, and that's what changed a lot of investment, brokers and investment bankers to hold a fiduciary license. Fiduciary license says I have to look out for the client's best interest, not my own interest, but the client's interest, and that's the very smallest iota of a good thing that came out of 2008. Not that much happened because a lot of those things got pulled back, but let's keep enjoying ourselves.
The failure spread through the entire system. Banks that weren't even in the mortgage business were failing because of counterparty risk in the derivatives market. The same thing can happen again. Actually,
I
it
already
will
did.
happen again because the derivatives market is even bigger now than it was in 2008. And it's based on the assumption that interest rates
And
stay low, the dollar stays
mhm.
strong, and asset prices keep rising. When those assumptions break, when the
Here's a perfect example. Okay, you look at the back of your dollar. Look at the back of your dollar. It says, like it's all faith in the United States, right? What do you think the faith of the United States looks like right now? That's all I'm going to ask. And I'm not pointing any fingers. I'm just asking you, what do you think the faith of the people looking at outside the United States, looks at? So as far as our dollar, because that's what, our dollar is backed by nothing but just trust the government, trust the United States. Isn't that the funniest phrase ever? Trust the government. Whatever side you're on. I'm more, in the middle. I'm apolitical. I think a total reset personally needs to happen, and there should be no political parties. I think people should stand on ideals rather than, because when you start grouping people together, then you have mob mentality, and people can't think for themselves because then they become embedded and co-opted by your big lobbyists as well as special interests. But don't listen to Crazy Mike.
when the dollar loses reserve status, when interest rates spike, when asset prices collapse, the derivatives market will explode. Losses will cascade through the
Mm-hmm.
system. Banks will fail. The whole financial system could freeze up. Trump has no control over this. The derivatives market is global. It's mostly unregulated. It's in the shadows. There's no
Mm-hmm.
way for any president to prevent the crisis that's building there.
None.
Reason number 8, the trust is already broken. This is psychological but crucial. People around the world are losing
uh,
faith in the dollar and the American system. They see us
I swear to God, is this guy just is he watching me right now? Because a lot of things I say, he just ends up saying like 2 seconds later. Oh my
weaponizing the
gosh.
dollar with sanctions. They
Yep.
see us printing trillions. They see our political dysfunction. They see our declining infrastructure and social problems. The trust that underpinned dollar dominance is eroding, and once trust is lost, it's almost impossible to restore.
Mm-hmm.
Trump could try to rebuild trust. He could try to restore confidence. But actions speak louder than words. And our actions, our massive debt, our money printing, our political chaos, they all scream that the American system is in decline. Other countries are rationally preparing for a post dollar world. They're not doing this because they hate America. They're doing it because they see the writing on the wall. They're protecting themselves. Once
Facts.
that process starts, it becomes self fulfilling. The loss of reserve currency status happens gradually, then suddenly. We're in the gradual phase. The sudden phase is coming. And Trump can't stop it because the trust that would be required to reverse it simply doesn't exist anymore.
Absolutely. I mean, look at historians. They have said it time and time again that the societies do not, and governments don't collapse on a single event. They happen slowly and quietly, and it's not going to be one event that does it. So, yeah, no, they're very spot on.
Now, let me be fair to Trump. There are some things he could do that might help at the margins. He could potentially negotiate better trade deals. He could try to bring some manufacturing back to America. He could cut regulations to spur economic growth. He could try to reduce government waste and inefficiency. These things might help. They might make the crash slightly less severe or buy a few more months of time, but they won't prevent the crash. They're band-aids on a compound fracture. They're rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. The fundamental problems are too big, too entrenched, and too far along to be fixed by any president in a 4-year term.
Even if Trump cuts the deficit by $1 trillion. Wow. It's now $35 trillion that this country owes. We're still, it's not even, uh, it's not even noticeable on what the U.S. is going to pay in debt payments.
Or even an 8-year term. These problems took 50 years to build. They
Mm-hmm.
can't be solved in less than a decade, even under the best circumstances, with
Nope.
perfect policies and full political support. And Trump won't have perfect policies or full political support.
No president
He'll face
does.
opposition from Congress. He'll face resistance from the bureaucracy. He'll face attacks from the media. He'll face legal challenges. He'll face constraints from interest groups and lobbyists and everyone with something to lose from change. The system is designed to resist change. It's designed to protect the status quo. And the people benefiting from the current system, the Wall Street banks, the defense contractors, the government employees, the beneficiaries of every program and subsidy, they'll all fight to keep things as they are. Trump could
And Trump just said he wanted to also double the budget. I think another $1 trillion, 1.5 trillion to the defense industries, but he says they can't use it for stock buybacks. So I don't know. I mean,
be the most skilled, most determined, most effective president in history. And he still couldn't overcome the structural forces that are driving us toward crisis. So, what does this mean for you? If Trump can't stop the crash, if no president can stop it, what are you supposed to do? First,
prepare.
understand that this isn't about Trump succeeding or failing.
Nope.
This
It's about
isn't
economics.
politics. This is about mathematics and economics and
Yep.
historical patterns that are bigger than any individual.
Yep.
Your financial future doesn't depend on who's in the White House. It depends on your own preparation.
Exactly. I learned this a long time ago. Hey, I got laid off from a defense company, and I always knew, especially being in California, that it's an at-will, state, and I could get let go at any time. And here, full disclosure, I was making $100,000 a year, and I socked away as much money as I could in investments, especially when the market dipped earlier in 2025, and I am doing okay in that it has cushioned me, given me enough of a grace period, but my unemployment's going to run out soon. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm honestly going to go back to school because I'm tired of this whole bust and boom cycle. Every 10, 15 years, you look at us as millennials. The we had COVID, we had two financial collapse recessions, and yeah, it's just I don't know.
And decisions. Second, stop waiting for someone to save you. Stop
No
hoping
one's
that
coming
government
for
will
you.
fix things.
No one will
Stop
save
believing
you.
that if we just elect the right person, everything will be okay.
Oh my God! Thank you, thank you. That is, dude. They're all. I'm sorry, they're all crooks, all right? Because they all serve each other. They're all in the same club. They are all out to stay in power and enrich themselves. Don't believe me? Just look at like the net worth of any, senator or congressman who's been in there long enough. Okay? And that's all I gotta say.
Okay, it won't. The crisis is coming regardless of who's in charge. You need to save yourself. Third, use whatever time we have left to prepare. We probably have 12 to 24 months before things get really bad. That's not a lot of time, but it's enough to take action if you start now. Get out of
Mm-hmm.
dollars, buy hard assets, gold, silver, real estate, productive businesses.
Silver has been booming like a goddamn beast. I would highly recommend you guys get some silver, real silver, not paper silver, not, because that's all just in the air, that's just manipulated. You want actual coins, you want actual, even sterling silver. Jewelry holds about 85, 90% of what the spot price of silver is. Last I checked, silver was at about 79, went up to about $84. If you want to check out the short squeeze video, we can do some deep dive into that too. But yeah, the,
Things with intrinsic value that can't be inflated away. Reduce your debt, especially variable rate debt. When
Mm-hmm.
interest rates spike and the crisis hits, you don't want to be drowning in debt. Build multiple income streams. Don't depend entirely on one job or one source of income. Diversify how you make money, so if one stream dries up, you have others. Develop skills that will be valuable regardless of economic conditions. Learn practical things. Learn how to fix things, grow things, make things. Skills or wealth that can't be inflated away or confiscated. Build community and
Absolutely.
relationships. In times of crisis, having people you can rely on is invaluable. Strong networks are a form of wealth. Stay informed and flexible. The situation is evolving. What's true today might change tomorrow. Be ready to adapt your strategy as new information emerges. Fourth, understand the timeline. Based on
Mm-hmm.
everything I'm seeing, the critical period is 2026 to 2027. That's when multiple crises converge. The commercial real estate
I mean, we're talking 2026 to 2030 is prepare to see blood on the wall because things have piled up so high that there's no going back. There's no fixing it. Okay, it's like a pile of books that's stacked so high that it's going to curve and then it's going to fall over. So, yeah, get ready, start saving, not fear mongering. I mean, just being real.
defaults. The Social Security Trust Fund runs dry. The BRICS
Mm-hmm.
alternative currency launches. The debt becomes truly unsustainable. The tipping point hits. Could it happen sooner? Yes. Could it be delayed slightly? Maybe. But the window is narrow. We're talking about 12 to 30 months before things get severe. Fifth, manage your expectations about Trump's presidency. He's going to face an impossible situation. The crash is probably going to happen on his watch. And he's going to get blamed for it, even though it wasn't his fault. The media will say Trump crashed the economy. His opponent
Well, I mean, the media loves a good headline, so that's nothing new there. Media loves to throw blame at it. So, I mean, I'm not here to talk about domestic policies. That's a different thing. This is, financial, and yeah,
opponents will use it against him. People will be angry and looking for someone to blame. And Trump will be the king.
angry people always are looking
But
for
the
someone to
reality is
blame.
that the crash was inevitable regardless of who won the election. Biden couldn't have prevented it.
Mm-mm.
Harris couldn't have prevented it.
Nope.
Nobody could prevent it. The crisis was locked in years ago when we made the decisions to
To
print
go off
trillions of
gold.
dollars, take
Oh,
up
okay.
massive debt, offshore our manufacturing, and create a financial system dependent on perpetual growth that's no longer sustainable. Trump will try to manage the crisis when it hits. He'll probably push for more stimulus, more money printing, maybe even some kind of debt restructuring or currency reform. He'll do whatever he can to minimize the pain, but the pain is coming. It's unavoidable. The question is just how bad it gets and how long it lasts. Sixth, don't let political bias cloud your judgment. If you love Trump, don't convince yourself that he'll magically fix everything. He won't.
I mean, you could be those same people who I've seen in those court videos where the people with the DUIs who said, Trump said I could do it. Trump said this, Trump said that. I mean, that's those people's own, belief in whatever they want to think.
If you hate Trump, don't convince yourself that he'll intentionally crash things.
Nope,
He won't. He'll try to
he
help.
can't.
This is bigger than Trump. This is bigger than politics. This is about economic reality. And economic reality doesn't care about your political preferences.
No, it doesn't.
Seventh, look at what's happening, not what people are saying. Politicians will tell you everything is fine. The Federal Reserve.
Politicians will tell you whatever you want to hear so you don't look at them and don't say, hey, maybe someone else can do this better. The last thing they ever want is for you to look at them. Politicians want you and me to look at each other and think we're the problem. So that's how they keep us at odds and keep their power safe.
Reserve will say they have everything under control. The media will alternate between panic and reassurance depending on what gets clicks.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's all about the
Look at the
clicks.
actual data.
It's all
Look at the
advertising.
numbers. Look at the inflation numbers. Look at what other countries are doing with their dollar reserves. Look at commercial real estate prices. Look at bank balance sheets. The data tells the real story.
Mm-hmm.
And the story is that we're
Men lie, women lie, numbers don't.
heading for a major crisis that no amount of political spin can prevent. Eighth, understand that the crash will create opportunities. This isn't just doom and gloom. Yes, there will be pain. Yes, people will
Better
lose money.
better get that money ready.
Crises also create chances for those who are prepared. When
Mm-hmm.
assets crash, you can buy them cheap. When
Yep.
others are panicking and selling, you can be buying. When the system
Warren Buffett famous quote that I remember that I put me into action earlier in 2025. He said, "When others see fear, you should see greed." And I did. I bought, wide index funds, and they've gone up pretty nicely. And I'm going to continue to do that. I'm not going to buy at the top. I'm going to, or I'll, dollar cost average. That's my strategy. Dollar cost average, or wait for a crash. I know $5 a week doesn't sound really exciting, but when you're buying and it's going down and you're buying, that's where it's at.
resets, those positioned correctly can build significant wealth. The Great Depression made some people very rich. The
Mm-hmm.
2008 crisis made some
Oh yeah,
investors billions. Every crisis has winners and
facts.
losers. You want to be a winner. That doesn't mean you're celebrating others' pain. It means you're being smart and taking
Taking
advantage of
advantage.
opportunities when they
Yep.
arise. That's just prudent financial management. Ninth, prepare mentally and emotionally. The crash is going to be scary. People will panic. There will be anger and fear and uncertainty. So you need to be mentally prepared for that so you don't make emotional decisions. Have a plan now before the crisis. Decide what you will do in various scenarios. Write it down. When the panic hits, follow your plan. Don't let fear drive your decisions. People who panic and sell at the bottom lose everything. People
Mm-hmm.
who stay calm and follow their strategy survive and thrive. 10th, take care of your health. Stress during financial
Absolutely.
crises can destroy your health, and medical problems during a crisis can destroy your finances. Do everything
Not to mention that medical debt is like the number one reason for bankruptcy in this country. So yes, stay healthy.
you can now to be healthy. Exercise, eat well, manage stress. Your health is your foundation. Now, let me address what Trump might actually do when the crisis hits, because he will try to respond. And his response will matter even if it can't prevent the crisis. Trump will probably push for massive stimulus. He'll want to put money in people's pockets to ease the pain. He did this during COVID with the stimulus checks. He'll probably do it again during the next crisis. This will feel good in the short term. People will get checks, they'll be able to pay bills, but it will make inflation worse in the long term.
Yep.
More money printing
More
means
money
more currency
printing, more
devaluation.
more
Trump
jet.
will probably try to pressure the
Mhm.
Federal Reserve to keep rates low. He's done this before. He wants cheap money to stimulate the economy. But low rates during inflation is gasoline on a fire. It makes the problem worse. Trump will probably try to renegotiate the debt, maybe offer bondholders partial payment, maybe restructure terms. This is what he did in his business career when companies had too much debt. But doing this at a national level would destroy US credibility and crash the dollar. Trump will probably try to blame someone: China, the Federal Reserve, past administrations, Congress.
China.
He'll try to deflect responsibility and pin it on others. This is just politics. Don't get distracted by it.
Yeah.
Trump might try to implement capital controls, make it harder for money to leave the country, restrict currency conversion. This is what governments do when their currency is in crisis. If he does this, it's a sign that things are really bad. Trump might try to push for a new currency system, maybe a gold backed dollar, maybe some kind of digital currency, maybe membership in a reformed international monetary system. This would be the most radical option, but might be necessary if the dollar completely collapses. The point is, Trump will try things. He's not going to just sit there and do nothing. He'll act,
He can't.
but his actions will be reactive, not preventative.
Yep.
He'll be managing a crisis, not preventing it. And some of his actions might make things worse in the long run, even if they feel good in the short run. More stimulus feels good, but causes more inflation. Keeping rates
People
low
love
feels
to
good,
act
but
on
leads to bigger
short-term
growth. Currency controls
thinking.
feel protective, but destroy confidence. This is why you can't count on the government to save you. Even well-intentioned actions can have terrible consequences when you're dealing with problems this large. So here's the bottom line. Trump cannot stop the 2026 crash. No president can. The crash is the result of 50 years of accumulated bad decisions, mathematical inevitabilities, and structural problems that are beyond any individual's power to fix. The debt is too large, the demographics are locked in, the de-dollarization is in motion, the commercial real estate collapse is happening, the money printing must continue, the derivatives market is primed to explode,
Yep.
trust is broken, and the political system is incapable of making the hard choices
It
that
will
are
not.
needed to change
No.
course. Trump will try. I believe that. No. He'll push for policies he thinks will help. He'll make deals. He'll use executive power. He'll do everything within his authority, but it won't be enough. The forces driving us toward crisis are too powerful, too entrenched, too far along. The momentum is unstoppable. This isn't about Trump being weak or incompetent. This isn't about him not caring or not trying. This is about the limits of presidential power when facing a mathematical and economic
Yep.
reality that transcends
The math built
politics.
math.
If you're counting on Trump to save the economy, you're going to be disappointed. If you're counting on any president, any party, any government action to prevent the crisis, you're going to be disappointed. The only person who can save you is you. The only protection you have is your own preparation. The only
Amen.
security you can count on is what you build yourself. So stop waiting, stop hoping, stop believing that someone else will fix this. They won't, they can't. The crash is coming, and you need to be ready. Duh. If this video opened your eyes to the reality that Trump can't...
How am I preparing for all of this, you might ask, right? That's what are you doing, Michael? I have been stacking for a long time. I use a high yield savings account, and that changes on the federal funds rates, but right now I believe it's at a 3.3%. So I can just clue you in here. I use SoFi, and as long as you put any amount of your direct deposit into SoFi, you get access to the high yield savings. It's like the premium member, doesn't cost you anything. And that is, 3.3%. So let's just pull that up. Yeah, 3.3 APY. Also, round up all of my change to the whole dollar on my debit cards with Acorns. There's a bunch of different apps out there that do rounding up the change. So, yeah, I've let this thing run on way too long, but I'll try and close it out soon. But yeah, get into ETFs, the VOOs, the DGI, this isn't financial advice. This is just kind of my strategies. This is what I'm doing. But yeah, look for opportunities where you see, um, room for growth. I look at things that everyone is going to need. For instance, food. I'm invested in Costco. I'm invested in Walmart. Gas. Everyone's going to need gas. I'm invested in Chevron. The NASDAQ, QQQ. That's your big players, your Nvidia, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Tesla, Meta, Google, Broadcom, and Palantir, because why put all your eggs in one basket when you can get a fund that puts it all out in different I also love these other ones that kind of do the work for me, like a high yield treasury. I use their SoFi. They have a 12.6 yield, so that's insane. Everybody drinks Coke, or they used to at least. Also look at ETFs that generate money, because the idea is that if you're just going to get a stock that's just, you think it's just going to go up forever, that's just gambling. I like to think that if I'm going to get something, it has to produce something of value. So, for instance, this, JEPQ or whatever, JEPQ, you get between like $12 and $14 per month. And it gets reinvested back into it. So I'm stacking. I'm as best I can. Granted, I'm not part of the 1%. Love to be part of that genetic lottery where you're just part of the Bezos and the Trumps and everything like that. But for the rest of us, we have to live in reality. So I'm preparing. I hope you are too. Hope you guys are having a great day. This isn't to fearmonger. This isn't to make you go out and buy anything. I'm just telling you my strategy, what I'm doing, how it works for me. Everybody's different. Everybody has different strategies. So go do you. Have a great Sunday. If you guys like this and you guys made it this far, please consider subscribing and like the video. And yeah, we'll talk later. Peace.